to expand on the response to Netflix's announcement. So first, what are industry experts saying about the ad-supported service?
So in the story that I wrote about this, I quoted two experts who watched the media industry very closely, especially streaming, and they both had a positive reaction. I think part of this is a credit to the fact that Netflix does its research. It knows its sweet spots, and it had very carefully planned out what will work and what will not work. Both the people that I quoted were very impressed by the forethought that Netflix put into it. And also, they were encouraged by the price point. It is low enough that they believe people will be willing to watch the ads. And it's very competitive with some of the other platforms, especially the ones like Paramount Plus and Peacock Plus that are a little bit younger and are still sort of finding their footing.
So speaking of that price point, because it's so competitive, do you think there's a scenario where people will ditch like a Hulu or a Paramount Plus to go to the cheaper Netflix ad subscription tier?
I think absolutely. I mean, I think what we've seen with streaming, especially in the past few years during the pandemic, when people are looking for entertainment, is that they will hop around. They will sample things. They are not scared to try something new, to check out a show that they've heard people talking about. And then if they don't like it, they'll go back to what they were doing before. So if you have someone who felt like the cost previously was a little prohibitive, you are definitely going to see them experiment with the ad-supported tier. Yes, definitely knock out one of those lower priced ones, see how it goes for a couple of months, and then perhaps come back.
And consumers have been used to like a decade of watching Netflix ad-free. What do you think their reaction is going to be to seeing ads on Netflix?
So I think that it is always a very difficult proposition in media when you ask people to do something they haven't done before. We saw this about a decade and a half ago in the newspaper industry when they started installing paywalls. People were not very happy about it because they'd been getting the content for free previously. They didn't understand why they should sign up for something and begin paying for it. And the newspaper industry really took a long time to recover from that. I think the difference here is that because Netflix is still allowing people to keep their subscriptions to the original, a lot of people won't even realize that there are ads. If you are happy with what you're paying, even though Netflix did raise the price earlier this year, then you're not going to be impacted by this. It's really only in many ways a gain situation for Netflix because they will get people who are willing to watch those ads.
And I do want to talk about a generational difference here. So you and I, growing up, watching TV, we're used to seeing commercials. So Netflix without commercials is a treat for us. But the younger generation, growing up with all of these streamers, a lot of them without ads, they're not used to a commercial or an ad in the middle of their programming. How do you think their response will be to this?
So that's definitely a point that hits home with me because, I remember growing up watching Saturday morning cartoons, and there was always the ads, especially for sugary cereal. My mom didn't want to buy me, but my kids are not used to it at all. You put an ad in the middle of a Hulu show, and they're like, "What's going on?" I do think that there could be some reaction from Gen Z on this. Now, for a good portion of those people, their parents are still paying for their subscriptions. It's something where, if mom and dad decide that we're going to go to the ad-supported tier, well, at least I'm getting Netflix. So I think there could be definitely some pushback. You'll probably hear about it on social media. There's going to be TikToks about it. But I don't think that it'll make an appreciable difference in the business model for Netflix.
And do you think, like you were saying, people might drop down? How many subscribers do you think would drop down from the regular Netflix subscription to the cheaper price point for the ad-supported tier?
So I think that that's going to be something to really keep an eye on. We don't really have a model for this. We are not sure what it's going to look like because this isn't something that has happened before with one of the major streamers. Amazon, does not run commercials in its programming, and Hulu always has. Now, Hulu did introduce a commercial-free version a little bit into its run, but that's obviously a lot different than going from no commercials to having commercials. I would guess that they are going to see more of just gaining new people to the tier rather than attracting those who already have subscriptions to change what they're doing, because like I was saying earlier, those behavior changes are a lot harder to implement. But it's definitely going to be something that Netflix keeps an eye on, and it'll impact as well the price of the tier moving forward. If they feel like they have enough wiggle room and maybe people are dropping down, they might end up raising the price on it if it's something that people will pay for.
Well, we certainly have a lot to keep our eye on when this debuts in November, and I hope you come back to talk about it with us then. Toni Fitzgerald, thank you so much.
Thank you.